Hey there guys, James Wilson here and welcome to my brand new video series, Doctor Who Character Reviews, where today I will be reviewing the brilliant and absolutely fantastic with a gun, Nicholas Courtney's Brigadier Gordon Lethbridge-Stewart. And today I will be talking about that brilliant character and the impact he had on the Doctor's life. Enjoy. Before Nicholas Courtney adopted the character of Brigadier Gordon Lethbridge-Stewart that we know him as today, the man already had a rich history with Doctor Who as it was. Director Douglas Camfield originally considered Courtney for the role of Richard the Lionheart in 1965's The Crusade, a role that ultimately went to Julian Glover, but it wasn't until the Daleks' master plan in the same year Camfield had cast Courtney as Space Security Agent Brett Bjorn opposite William Hartnell's first Doctor. And obviously Camfield saw something in him that would set him above as one of the greatest Doctor Who companions of all time. I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, honestly, Courtney has probably the best crow's feet in the business. The way he squints those eyes, the way he holds a gun with such ease and awesomeness, and also that beautiful mop of black James Bond-esque hair. And obviously that authoritative voice. His voice could melt butter, that's how good it is. Honestly, he is just an absolutely brilliant actor, and thank God Camfield saw something in him. In 1968's The Weather Fear, which I reviewed last week, so if you guys want to check out that review, then please go to my James Wilson Presents playlist, which is on the YouTube homepage. You should find it somewhere. Courtney was originally cast as Captain Knight, however, the original actor to play Colonel Lethbridge-Stewart, David Langston, gave up the role of Lethbridge-Stewart to work elsewhere. Camfield recast Captain Knight and gave the part to Courtney instead. But thank God he did. I mean, imagine if that actor actually decided to play Brigadier Lethbridge-Stewart. We might not even have Brigadier Lethbridge-Stewart at all. I think it's completely down to the brilliant way Nicholas Courtney portrayed the character that made the character such an icon in Doctor Who history. I mean, I was surprised as anyone to find out that Nicholas Courtney had a role before Brigadier Lethbridge-Stewart in Doctor Who, and honestly, I'm not actually surprised, because obviously I think it's down to Douglas Camfield, who brilliantly loved Nicholas Courtney's acting, and obviously tried to get him work on Doctor Who for a very long time. Started with Richard the Lionheart, that didn't work out, and then cast him as Captain Knight, but it worked out in the end because Nicholas Courtney got the role that he would be typecast as for the rest of his career. I mean, obviously, I'm saying that as though it's a bad thing, because it isn't. I mean, the character has obviously made an impact. I was surprised as anyone to find out that the character had already appeared in Doctor Who before Spearhead from Space, but obviously I had a hunch that Brigadier had met the Doctor before, because in Spearhead from Space, the man did kind of recognize the name the Doctor, but obviously dismissed it when he saw Jon Pertwee's face. So it really is, Nicholas Courtney has obviously had a lot of work on Doctor Who, even before Brigadier, and honestly I think that's the reason why he went into the role with such cool. I think he just thought, right, okay, I've been in Doctor Who before this, so I know how all this works. But I don't think he at all expected the role to go into people's hearts as much as they did. But I think the character definitely did come into his own when it came into the Third Doctor's era, because Brigadier did appear in pretty much every episode of Jon Pertwee's series, and really it was just amazing, because I don't think the Third Doctor's era would have been the same without it, because I think the Doctor did start out with Brigadier as a sort of man who was there to help. And when I watched The Web of Fear, it seemed to me that that Colonel Lethbridge-Stewart at the time and the Doctor were kind of just working together. But as their relationship progressed and they started to meet more often, I think it was the Third Doctor and Brigadier that kind of got off to a brilliant start. I think personally that the Third Doctor kind of got on Brigadier's nerves, and that's what I kind of love about the character. And what I said before about Brigadier being a companion, I don't think that's right. So let me just scratch that out for one thing, because Brigadier, I don't think, is at all a companion of the Doctor, because he's the only man in the show's history that can say, I was the Doctor's boss for a short time. So honestly, it is just, he's the only man who can say that. You cannot help but admire that. The man was the only guy in history that could say, hey, I'm the one who paid the Doctor's paychecks, for God's sake. But then again, the Doctor probably didn't get paid. He probably just wanted some software or something that could fix his TARDIS. Because the Third Doctor, all working for Unit was to the Third Doctor was just something to do while he was exiled, you know? I think that the Third Doctor was kind of using Brigadier as the best of a bad situation. The Doctor gets off on alien encounters, and I think we can pretty much know that the Doctor loves getting into trouble, and that's what we love best about him. But I think that the Doctor needed something to do. Obviously, he said that in Spearhead from Space. I think he said that he needed something to do while he's exiled. So he was making the best of a bad situation. But I think that his relationship with Brigadier progressed into an actual friendship, and I really do love the character. And like I said, at times these two were at each other's throats constantly. I think that's what made us fall in love with Brigadier from the very start, because I think it was down to the strange chemistry between the Third Doctor and Brigadier, because obviously the Third Doctor was a very liked to stamp his foot down on authority. The Third Doctor was one of the most serious of all the Doctors. And I think that this Doctor certainly he when he entered a room, he demanded your attention, and it was the same with Brigadier. It was almost like a competition between the two of them. Brigadier was basically the Doctor's boss, and he could tell him what to do. And I think Brigadier was the one who wasn't taken in by any of the Doctor's brilliance. Everyone around him would think that the Doctor was brilliant, but Brigadier, he's met the Doctor twice before this. So honestly, he obviously just thinks, oh my God, you have no idea how ridiculous this man can be. And I don't think he's taken in by that, which is brilliant. You know, we've had characters like that in the past. Donna Noble, most recently Clara Oswald. They're not taken in by any of the Doctor's brilliance. They think that he's brilliant, of course, but they don't let him know that. So, you know, I think that Brigadier just likes the Doctor to keep his head down and keep his head out of the clouds a little bit, and that's a bit hard to do when you're a time traveller. You can't help but have your head in the clouds. But I think that Brigadier has a sort of chemistry with the Doctor that, unlike any other companion ever before or after, because obviously every other companion after that has just been all taken in by the Doctor and how brilliant he is. But Brigadier, no, he wasn't taken in by by any of that, and I think that's admirable for his character, and that definitely came in Nicholas Courtney's performance. He would just roll his eyes at the Doctor, because I think Nicholas, he certainly got in tune with Brigadier, and I think he loved playing him. And in fact, in the Sarah Jane episode, Enemy of the Bane, I think it was, I think that that return with Brigadier, I think that was a field day for Nicholas Courtney, just to bring back that character. And I think he somehow knew that was somehow going to be the last time he was going to play that role. So I think he played it as best he could, despite the small time he had on screen as Brigadier. And I think that that is definitely a character that he adores, because I think the reason why Nicholas loves the character so much is because of the simple fact that he took no shit from the Doctor, and that is something I think we can all admire from his character. But what I think separated the Doctor and Brigadier, but at the same time made their friendship stronger at the same time, I think, in my terms, I think was the fact that they had two completely different ways about saving the world, but that was their aim. Their aim was to save the world, save this planet that that they both adored so very, very much. They both had the same target: stop the enemy and save the world. That is always and forever their same, and obviously it's always the Doctor's way of thinking that comes up top trumps. And it's almost never Brigadier's guns and all the military in his back pocket. It's never Brigadier's way that wins, but I think Brigadier can kind of admire that in a way, because although Brigadier, his way is wearing green dark green navy sweatshirts and talking into a walkie-talkie saying "need backup quickly," and he shoots at the enemy the best he can. But the Doctor, he creates these bizarre and weird things. He invents these bizarre and weird machines that you can't even pronounce, the transcendental cranfibrillator or something like that. And he'd shoot that at the enemy, and that would kill it stone dead. And honestly, Brigadier would just be like, "How does he do this? He built that out of junk." You know, so honestly, I think that Brigadier can admire that, but like I said, it sometimes gets on his nerves sometimes. But they both have the same aim, and which is to save the world. And of course, as we all know from the episode Robot, I think that this story kind of epitomizes how the Doctor and Brigadier treat one another. And although the Doctor had just this is the episode Robot, by the way, Tom Baker's first episode as the Fourth Doctor. And although the Doctor had just regenerated, I think that in a way their relationship still stays the same. The Doctor's way of thinking always gets results, whereas Brigadier's kind of doesn't. And yet it's kind of the Doctor's just one man. The Doctor is just one man out of dozens and dozens of Time Lords, and I think that Brigadier is an asset to the Doctor, and I think that vice versa, the Doctor is an asset to Brigadier. I think, and in Robot, the Doctor, the Brigadier says this place is impregnable, and then because Brigadier had gotten this entire factory sort of surrounded by barbed wire and loads of military troops and sacks of sand or something like that, and he basically got the entire place surrounded. It was like a military base, and Brigadier just says, "This place is impregnable," and then the Doctor just said, "Never cared too much for the word impregnable. It sounds too much like unsinkable." And then someone said, "What's wrong with the word unsinkable?" "Nothing," said the iceberg to the Titanic. "What?" "Glug, glug, 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 glug." And oh my God, honestly, it said their relationship in a nutshell, because obviously the Doctor knows that Brigadier's plan isn't going to work and that it's going to fail miserably. The robot's going to tunnel his way from underground, and that's the one thing that Brigadier never thought of. The Doctor's always 500 steps ahead, and Brigadier finds that annoying yet admirable at the same time, which I think, again, is something brilliant about Brigadier. Now, if I were to compare any character with Brigadier, it would have to be Captain Jack Harkness, because they're both military men. They both look very, very awesome with guns, and they've both got some brilliantly chiseled, handsome features. And we all need one of those Doctor Who poster boys, don't we? And I think that John Barrowman's Captain Jack Harkness is honestly the best asset to Doctor Who in the modern era, I think. And I think that Captain Jack is definitely the modern day Brigadier. And although Brigadier is a character all his own, I think that they are both have similarities in the fact that the Doctor and Captain Jack both have completely different ways about going about saving the world. Captain Jack chooses both technology and guns, you know. So in that respect, I think Captain Jack has sort of changed. I think the Doctor has kind of changed Captain Jack's life, and I think that it's the same with Brigadier. I think that the Doctor has changed Brigadier's perspective on the way that they change the world, because obviously Brigadier had inspired his daughter Kate Stewart to go into the family business and basically become in charge of unit, and it's basically science that leads, but obviously a bit of her father kind of rubbed off on her in the Day of the Doctor, when she was willing to blow up half the world just to stop the Zygons, you know. So I think that I think that some of Brigadier's morals and some of the way he thinks kind of rubs off on Kate Stewart a little bit, but the Doctor kind of proves Kate Stewart wrong while at the same time proving Brigadier wrong, which I think is rather brilliant because these characters like Captain Jack, like Mickey Smith, and like Brigadier and like Kate Stewart, all these characters that have guns and military in the palm of their hand and so much power. I think that the Doctor kind of makes them not use that power too abruptly, and finds other ways and other sources of saving the planet, and that is just something brilliant that the Doctor does. So I think that the Doctor, I think that Brigadier and Captain Jack and Kate Stewart and all these characters that use guns, and yeah, they're awesome guns. I mean, who wouldn't love a good shootout? But I think that these characters kind of make the Doctor shine more, and the Doctor proving these people wrong also proves that these people can be capable of more than just people with guns in their hands. Now, time for a quick conclusion on Brigadier. Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge-Stewart has become a great asset to the Doctor and is in the Doctor's hearts as his greatest ever asset. I think that although Brigadier and the Doctor sometimes are at each other's throats, I think that Brigadier is the sort of man that brings the best out in the Doctor. We've seen those times where the Doctor has had his dark days, like in A Town Called Mercy, where Matt Smith's 11th Doctor was willing to give Carla Jex over to the gunslinger for what he had done to his people. If it wasn't for the interference of his companion Amy Pond, then the Doctor would have gave Carla Jex over to the gunslinger for sure. As in the dying words of Mercy Town Sheriff Isaac, the Doctor is a good man, but he just forgets it sometimes. And I think that his characters like Brigadier, Captain Jack, and all these brilliant characters that use guns that can sometimes coax the Doctor into making the very right decisions. Brigadier, he's the sort of guy that you would want on your side. He's the sort of guy who can protect you. But at the same time, I think that when posed up against the Doctor, I think that the Doctor always comes up top, because the Doctor has better and more pacifist sort of ways of going about things. And I think that Brigadier is an absolutely superb character, and I think that the late Nicholas Courtney, God rest his soul, I think that his character will always be in the Doctor's hearts as not only his employer, not only as his colleague, but also as one of his best friends. And I think that the very saddening yet misused death of Nicholas Courtney in The Wedding of River Song, I think that phone call to the nurse in The Wedding of River Song was a misused sort of thing to do, because it was just a way to move the show, the episode forward. That's what it felt like to me. Finding out the Doctor finding out that his oldest friend Brigadier had died, I think that was just a way of Moffat using Nicholas Courtney's death as a way of putting The Wedding of River Song and making the story go forward and making the Doctor accept death. I think that was a very wrong thing to do, and sort of a little bit disrespectful of Brigadier's fantastic character. But all the same, I think that Brigadier is an absolutely brilliant character, and I love him, and I will always adore him, and I think the Doctor always will too. I give Brigadier a fantastic score of 10 out of 10.
So then guys, that's it for this week's episode of James Wilson Presents. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already for some great videos over the next coming days. Please comment in the section below what you guys think about Brigadier and how brilliant he is. For those of you who don't like Brigadier, you couldn't be any more wrong. Also, please go to this link at the bottom of your screen now, where you can go to links to all of our social networking sites, where you can find out anything and everything that happens to Who Addicts Reviews all the time. And don't forget to join me next week for my next character review, where I will be reviewing Tasha Lem. That's going to be an interesting subject. So then guys, see you on Wednesday.